So this is what my social life looks like right now. I've had the most close friends that I've had in my entire life. I'm part of several clubs and one of the biggest universities in my state. But most importantly, I've built the social confidence to control my life, have the confidence to talk to anybody whenever I want. And the reason why I'm telling you this, it's not to show off or brag or anything. I'm definitely not the most extroverted guy out there, but it's to highlight the fact that 6 years ago, I didn't have any of this. I was the complete opposite. In school, I was always that shy guy. I was that shy guy that didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know what to say. I had no idea how to talk to people. And because of this, it brought lots of pain. And with that being said, in this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 years of social confidence advice that I wish I had when I was an introvert. This is in no particular order. This is just straight up advice that I feel like would help you if you're trying to improve your social confidence and live that social lifestyle that's going to affect you socially and physically. So the first tip that I can give you guys is get into at least 3 different hobbies that the majority of people are doing. Here is why this is going to change your life. If you're doing hobbies that every single person is already doing, one, it's going to make you more relatable to talk to them in conversation. And two, you're going to actually have something to talk to them about. In my situation, when I was shy, when I was an introvert, and when no one would talk to me, my hobbies and the only thing that my life revolved around was this game called Halo. It was a first person shooter game and it wasn't popular at all. But because my life solely revolved around this, I could only talk about this game and I could only connect and make friends with people who also play this game. However, this all changed when I started getting into sports and fitness, right? And once I started getting into like the lifestyle of, eating right, training, learning about a bunch of different workouts, I noticed that the most popular athletes in school, I was able to talk to them more. I was able to connect with them. Why was I able to do that? Because me and them, we were living the same lifestyle. They were training. I was also training as well. We were doing the same thing. So that gives you a leverage in order to talk to more people. You're able to connect with the experiences. I'm going to give you 3 of the most hobbies that I see other people do and the most hobbies that I see myself talking to people all the time. 1, fitness. 2, sports. 3, TV shows. Like I said, in my experience, whenever I meet someone new or even just a friend, that's what I've researched and analyzed that we talk about the most, either a TV show, sports, or something to relate with fitness. So if I were you, I would probably get into one of these 3 things right now so you can start relating to people in conversation and you actually have something to talk to them about. Second tip, and this is a mentality that extremely helped me, is that you will be disliked and that's okay. When I was trying to make friends when I was little, I always put so much pressure on myself because whenever I talk to someone, I try to be friends with them. I always got super upset if they didn't continue talking to me or if they showed genuine dislike. I would get super upset. I actually thought there was something wrong with me. But here's the advice that I wish I had. There is no such thing as living a life where you're 100% liked. Even the popular kids, yes, there are more people who are more likable than others, but even if you're popular and the perfect person in the world, you're still going to have people that are going to dislike you and not want to talk to you. Thinking about it like this, you probably want to be a successful man, right? You probably want to live a really good lifestyle compared to 90% of men, right? The most successful people have the most haters and get the most criticized. These huge people, they all have dislike comments under their Instagram comments. Huge athletes. These guys literally go into a stadium and the opposing team says a bunch of negative comments and are booing them as soon as they play their sport. However, what do? They keep going and they still play with the sport. It's all the mentality. Don't try to impress people. Don't think and try to prioritize getting everybody to like you because it won't happen. Be yourself, understand that people dislike you, and this will take so much pressure off of you in social situations because you're not worried about, oh, I care if they like me, oh, what are they going to say about me? You're not thinking about that whatsoever. Next tip I can give for you guys is improve your looks as much as possible. This is probably the most thing that I happened to do that completely changed my social confidence. Now you might be thinking right now, oh, but there's so many unattractive people that, they have friends, they're able to talk to people. And I've seen that as well. But I've noticed that most of the time, they're from either like a family where they have lots of siblings, everyone's connected, or maybe they're from like a rich family, they have lots of connections. They have that positive reinforcement that makes them feel good about themselves, right? So as introverts like you and me, maybe that's going to be extremely hard to overcome because maybe like me, You're not from that type of family. You don't come from that place. So we're going to have to tackle it another way. But as I was saying, I'm a strong believer that the social life that you have depends on your looks. If you look good, you're going to feel good. And knowing that you feel good, you're going to act good and confident as well. The reason why looks are so important, especially nowadays, is because people are getting constantly compared to celebrities on social media. Guys are getting respected for, they're looking at, oh, if you have a respectable physique because of all these bodybuilders that they're seeing. And here's the reality that I experienced: if you don't have anything that's going to make you feel good about yourself or a positive reinforcement through looks, you are going to suffer socially. If you still disagree with me, think about it like this. Imagine you got complimented being handsome all the time. Girls found you extremely attractive, and you experienced this positive reinforcement from people every single time you went out. Of course, you would feel more confident if you got the opposite. And if you think you're absolutely chopped and there's nothing that you can do about your looks and experience, ask yourself that again, because here's what I looked like in 2018. I completely transformed the way I look, and I had a drastic transformation. I'm not going to go too deep into looks maxing. This channel isn't into looks maxing, but one of the two of the biggest things that completely changed my confidence and my looks was growing out my hair and building a better physique. In my experience, I had lots of insecurities when I was younger. So, for example, my ears, my hairline, the way my face looked with my hair, I hated it 100%. But once I started growing it out, my hair, it covered my insecurities. This is like a curly style. It's a longer style. So, girls were saying it was attractive. People liked my hairstyle. And every time I went out, every time I was in school, I had that positive reinforcement and I started to feel good about myself. I started knowing that, and I went into conversation knowing that I looked well, I looked presentable. So, advice for you: start small, figure out where your weak points are. If there's any insecurities that you have, try to fix them as much as you can. Because the more that you fix them, the more you're going to know that they're not showing, and the better you're going to feel in social situations. The fourth tip, and probably one of the most important things that you could do, is get out of your comfort zone every single day. I have a story on how a service job completely transformed my life. When I was 16 years old, I got my first service job. And because of this, I started interacting with a bunch of people. Even though I was super shy, I was forced to. I was extremely uncomfortable, going in the restaurant, cleaning tables when every single person was looking at me. At least that's what I thought. And then taking a bunch of orders, being forced to talk to many different people that I was extremely uncomfortable with. But here's why this is going to extremely change your life. The more you get uncomfortable with people, the more you get in uncomfortable situations, the more you get used to it. So if you're anything like me, you're extremely uncomfortable being in social situations, you don't know how to talk to people, but the more you put yourself out there, you get used to that pressure. You get used to people looking at you. You get used to talking to people. And once you keep that going, you're going to get used to it, to the point where you're like, oh, I've gotten this, I have this job. I've literally been talking around people for so many years. Why should I be nervous? I'm used to this. So a service job is probably one of the best things that you can do to get outside of your comfort zone and you're like forced to talk to people. A couple other things you could do is play sports, like recreational sports, because when you play sports, people are looking at you, you're part of a team, you have to cooperate. And in addition, you're getting exercise and fun as well. Another thing that I like to do to get outside of my comfort zone and experience that attention of people looking at me, so I got used to it, was running outside in public in a busy road. Be careful with this, obviously. I don't want you guys to get hurt. But for me, I was super insecure when I would run outside, cars looking at me, I was busy. But if you do this for a long enough time, you get outside of your comfort zone, and you're going to get used to it, knowing that people are looking at you, and it's completely going to change your life, the way you go into social situations. The fifth tip that I'm going to give you guys, which also kind of relates to the fourth one, is realizing that talking is a skill. You're at a point right now where you might have low confidence, you might know how to talk to people, but eventually over time, you're going to improve it. Everything's a skill, right? Eating's a skill, walking is a skill, like typing is a skill. They all take time to develop. This is why when we're kids, we're taught how to do these things because they're all skills. So with that being said, talking to people is a skill itself. You do it a little bit, you keep going, you do it as much as you can, and then you get used to it. Over time, you know how to ask people questions. Over time, when you're talking to people, when you've talked to people for lots of years and improving your confidence, you know how they're going to react. You know what to talk about. You know what most likely they're going to do and say. So if there's something you can do, like getting outside of your comfort zone and being forced to talk to people, you're going to get used to this. You're going to practice and craft this skill of improving your social skills, and that's what's going to make you develop that social confidence. Those were 5 of the most important tips that I have for building social confidence. These tips drastically changed my social life and helped me become more confident. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.